Gonna love ya until you hate me. Wow, everybody. Hello. Wow. Everybody rolling in at once. Hello, everybody. Hi, hello, hi. How are you? Bing. Hi, Bubba. Hi, sweet boy. You want to come up? You want to say hi to everybody? No? Bing. How's everybody doing on this wonderful day? How's dirt? The dirt stock has crashed. We are out of dirt. We've got some weird breaking news. Zelensky came out with a video saying Putin is not trying to end the war. 900 drones attacked Ukraine. Obligatory thank you for keeping me posted on the news. You're welcome. Mic is a bit low, not picking up audio because it's by your chest. Copy that. Let me crank it up. Crank her up. How's that? Is that better? Toddler likes your haircut. Nice. Hi, toddler. Beans? No. Go to your bed.
Is the government finally coming clean about what it knows about UFOs? There's a new report by the Federal Aviation Administration that admits in 2023 an orange and white
Thank you for the $2 donation, Trevor.
UFO crashed into an Air Force fighter jet during a routine training mission. And the UFO caused so much damage to the $60 million jet that it was forced to land. And that is not the only new evidence that they released. Trump's top science advisors.
Wait, what the fuck did they just say?
Is the government finally coming clean about what it knows about UFOs? There's a new report by the Federal Aviation Administration that admits in 2023 an orange and white UFO crashed into an Air Force fighter jet during a routine training mission. And the UFO...
A fucking UFO crashed into one of our jets? I don't believe that for a fucking second. You're telling me there's an alien species out there with enough technology to travel interplanetary and they crashed into one of our jets? I don't believe that shit for a fucking microsecond.
UFO caused so much damage to the $60 million jet that it was forced to land. And that is not the only new evidence that they released. Trump's top science advisors recently admitted that the government may have anti-gravity technology. Look at this.
Our passenger planes are slower than they used to be. Our trains crawl compared to those in other parts of the world. Our cars do not fly. We are capable of so much more. Our technologies permit us to manipulate time and space.
Manipulate time and space. Oh my gosh, I'm surprised that hasn't been a bigger story. So why has the Trump administration decided to disclose all of this now? I want to ask former Pentagon UFO whistleblower and investigator Lou Elizondo. Lou, it's nice to have you with us. First of all, the UFO that crashed into the fighter plane, what do we know about that?
Well, the problem is that we really don't know much, and therein lies the challenge, right? When you have an incident involving a $40 million combat aircraft, and only the details now are starting to be released through Freedom of Information Act and FAA, there's a problem. Now, we've been saying for the last 8 years since I've been out that there have been dozens upon dozens of these near air collisions that have occurred with military and civilian and commercial pilots. This is not just happening with military aircraft. Now, this is the first time we heard of an actual mid-air collision, but some of these objects are coming so close to combat aircraft.
I don't give a fuck about this. Where's that new one? Trying to distract from the fact that manned U.S. warplanes flew over Putin's bunker last night. Did they really? That's fucking crazy.
So we've covered...
Hello.
Another teaser here. Information about the innocent people who are being disappeared. Well, now...
MAGA cult slayer.
We have another teaser here. Well, now we have...
June 30th, what could this be? There we go. Here's what I think that UFO shit is probably a distraction for.
Hello, my fellow citizens of America. This is Anonymous. 38 days remain until the truths of our country are revealed. They've told you not to listen to people like me. They've trained you to recoil at the sound of the words conspiracy theory, like a reflex, like a spell. Say it enough times, and truth starts to sound like madness. But what happens when the veil lifts, and you see it for yourself? What do you call a conspiracy when it's no longer a theory? The horrors are not in my words. They're in the documents, the footage, the signatures. They are in the children taken, the wars staged, the citizens studied like lab rats and programs denied to your face. They're in your food, your water, your media, your science. You think you've seen scandal? No. You've seen what they were willing to sacrifice to protect the real story underneath. The real story is darker than you've imagined, and far more deliberate. In 38 days, there will be no more comfortable disbelief, no more dismissive eye rolls. The world will not debate whether these things might be true. The world will have to ask how they ever doubted them in the first place. The phrase, conspiracy theory, will rot in its grave, where it belongs. In its place will stand evidence and consequence. You won't need to trust me. You'll see for yourself. And once you do, nothing will ever feel normal again. The countdown continues. And the truth, your truth, is getting louder. We do not forgive. We do not forget. Expect us.
Listen, you guys can talk all that shit that you want, but every single time Anonymous has said they were going to do something, they fucking delivered. Every single time without fail. See, I don't know if you guys know what Anonymous is, but they're a group of ethical hackers. Okay? They're a group of ethical hackers that use their hacking skills to fuck with the government and to tell the people all the shit that they can find. Part of the reason why we know about all of the people being disappeared into CCOT, all the people being disappeared by ICE, is because of Anonymous's efforts. Remember, remember the 5th of November. You know, after all that shit that we were talking about, the American pomp and circumstance on Memorial Day, none of that shit meets this level of fucking buffoonery. This is buffoonery. Like, dude, these people have a king. These people have a fucking king, bro. That's so weird and stinky. Let's see if I have any good reposts on TikTok. I probably do. All right, are we going to get something really weird right upon the opening of TikTok? No, it's just kids with a balloon. Nice. Oh, as soon as you left for work, I went live, brother. Instantly and immediately. Oh, this one. Where is it? This one's great. Get fucked. Wouldn't even shake Dolan's hand.
There is no genocide happening in Gaza. There is no genocide happening in Gaza.
There's no war in Boxing Say.
Oh, Jesus. Anybody remember where that recent Nazi march was? A whole bunch of Nazis marched recently. Anybody know where that was? Kansas.
Lexi, thanks. Strong words from city leaders today. That's after members of a
Thank you for the $2 donation. Have a good one at work.
Controversial nationalist group rallied and marched in Kansas City. The group is called the Patriot Front. Civil rights nonprofit, the Southern Poverty Law Center, categorizes it as a hate group.
Yo, those are all cops, by the way. I'm not kidding. Like 70% of the people in Patriot Front are cops, federal agents.
Fox 4's Jacob Sloan shares reaction from people around the city.
On Memorial Day weekend, the Liberty Memorial is decorated to honor our troops. But yesterday, more flags appeared at the memorial from ralliers. These pictures show the group with faces covered rallying at the memorial. They carry shields and a variety of flags. Some are upside-down USA flags. Some carry the Betsy Ross flag from the 1700s. Others even hold the Confederate battle flag. The SPLC calls them a white nationalist hate group that split from the group who planned the 2017 Unite the Right rally in Charlottesville, Virginia. That rally killed one person and injured many others. The National World War I Museum and Memorial issued a statement to Fox 4 on Sunday, saying they respect the group's right to peaceful assembly and free speech and want to be unequivocally clear that the views expressed by this group do not represent or align with our values. They continue to say they stand firmly against hatred, bigotry, and divisiveness in all forms. In a Facebook post on Saturday, Mayor Lucas also said, while the First Amendment provides the right to bring any message to Kansas City, we know that our diversity, our welcoming community, and our respect for the rights of all reject whatever hate and cowardice come our way. It's still unclear why the group chose Kansas City for their demonstration. We reached out to KCPD to see if they received any advance notice the rally was happening. We have not heard back.
Call me crazy, but like, I think any act of violence you commit against one of these people is considered an act of self-defense. If their entire ideology is built upon the violent dismantling of the United States in order to create a white supremacist Christian theocratic nation, then there's nothing you could do to them that would not be considered self-defense. Maybe that's fucking unhinged of me. I don't know. Oh, Nelson's your baby sick? Baby will be fine. Your baby should be feeling better now. Is that a fucking B-52 bomber? What the fuck is that? Brother, that thing had the Soviet flag on it. That thing had the Soviet flag on it. What the fuck? Soviet Union collapsed decades ago. That was fucking remarkable. That was remarkable. What the fuck? What the fuck just happened to me? Oh.
Chair would now like to recognize Mr. Burchett for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Chair Lady. Dr. Curtis, what happened when the Warren Commission called you to testify about what you knew about the JFK wounds? Dr. Curtis.
If you say that again?
Yes, sir. I'm sorry. I've got hearing aids too, so don't worry about it, brother. What happened when the Warren Commission called you to testify about what you knew about JFK's wounds?
Well, the Warren Commission hasn't called me to testify at all.
Not at all. Okay.
I didn't use up all my time, and I'd like to make some additional comments regarding.
Sir, you have the time that you need, so please proceed.
Okay. Well, let me know when I can do it.
Well, now, sir, I believe Mr. Burchett has a line of questions for you, so you're free to talk to Mr. Burchett.
Yes, sir. Can you explain what condition, when President Kennedy arrived in the emergency room, what was his condition at that point?
Dead?
He had already died.
Okay.
He was dead.
How many wounds did you observe on President Kennedy?
2.
How many wounds? President Kennedy had a wound to, of course, the big wound to his head.
Right.
But he also had a wound to his throat. And I've got a little diagram here. I can point that out how that worked if you'd like me to.
And that wouldn't have been a single bullet wound, though, right?
Nope.
They talk about this magical bullet that traveled. That would have been more than one bullet.
I haven't watched this yet, but I'm going to predict what this guy's going to say. There was one bullet wound in the neck from the front, and there was one bullet wound in the head from behind. Because as soon as Lee Harvey Oswald shot JFK, FBI, CIA agents fucking capped him too to make sure the job was finished.
You think?
Magic bullet didn't strike the president at all.
Okay, yeah, that was a clean bullet. I saw the picture. Do what? What? Oh, yeah, please show the diagram.
Okay. The bullets that were fired, the blue bullet was the bullet that arrived first. And you can see it started probably from the railroad trestle, which is to the southwest, and came up and first struck President Kennedy before he got out from under the tree that prevented the window shooter from shooting. And we know that because the Zapruder film showed President Kennedy holding his throat in real distress when the Zapruder film started, and he had already been shot, and that wound to his throat would have killed him. It did kill him, because we know from the tracheostomy that we had to do that the bullet to his throat.
Have you guys ever seen the footage of when JFK's head, when the top part of his head was shot clean off, right? His head gets shot off, and it lands on the back of the car. And his wife, Jackie, is so freaked out. She's so scared. She doesn't know what's happening. It's one of the strangest moments I've ever seen in my life. That she climbs in the back and she grabs the top of Jack's head and she puts it back on him. She puts the top of his head back on him. It's so sad. It's so sad. It's so sad, bro.
Obstructed the trachea, and so he had taken his last breath before that. Also, the bullet that struck President Kennedy in the temple killed him also, because he just removed about a third of his brain. And the part of the brain that it removed.
Why did they want to kill JFK? There's a litany of reasons. One, he said he wanted to destroy all 3-letter agencies, the FBI, the CIA, the ATF. He said that 3-letter agencies are they're directly antithetical to American freedom, that America does not want secret societies like that. He also said he wanted to declassify all UFO files and tell the world the truth about aliens. And then he also prevented World War III. And that one really fucking pissed off the military-industrial complex. They had a plan to start global thermonuclear war by invading Cuba, the Bay of Pigs invasion. And JFK, when he found out about the Bay of Pigs invasion, he said, we're not fucking doing that. You can let those Cubans go fucking try it. but we are not sending the United States Marines to fight against a horde of 40,000 Soviets on the island of Cuba, which then would have in turn led to global thermonuclear war. But he actually simply, at the end of the day, he wanted to prevent World War III, he wanted to declassify the UFO files, and he wanted to destroy the CIA. That's it. That's it.
Posterior part of the brain, and that is the area of the brain that controls the parasympathetic and the automatic
I'd do a video on it.
Nervous system. And so
did he have an affair with Marilyn Monroe? Yeah, dude. JFK had an affair with fucking dozens of women. They built a secret entrance into the White House so he could smuggle women in. Like, he did this all the time.
From the Connally.
He also smoked a joint in the Oval Office with Elvis Presley.
From the window, one struck Connally, and it's the only thing that it did.
Yes, he slept with a woman who fucked Hitler.
It went in Connally's shoulder, went through his chest, came out of his chest, into his left wrist, into his left leg, and that indicates that the bullet was coming from the north, going southeast, southwest.
Wait, what? Yeah. JFK, one of the women he was sleeping with was Miss Denmark of 1933. Like, you know, there's like Miss America, Miss Brazil, Miss France. He slept around with Miss Denmark, and Miss Denmark was Hitler's girlfriend for a while in the mid-30s. Hitler took her to the Berlin Olympics. Hitler was seen with her all the time. Now, there's no proof that they had sex, but it is insinuated, it is implied that Adolf Hitler fucked this woman, and so did John F. Kennedy.
That bullet was only for Governor Connally. The other bullet that came out was this.
There's no way she wasn't a spy. It's exactly what the CIA said. So they opened up an investigation into her, and they started probing her and JFK to see if she was a Nazi spy. According to them, they found no conclusive evidence that this was a Nazi spy and that this happened to literally just be a woman that fucked Hitler. Because also, please don't forget, guys, Hitler was the leader of Germany starting in 1933. So from 1933 to 1939, the world didn't look at Hitler as a monster, right? Other world leaders were meeting with him. There were plenty of news articles written about him in America. He was just seen as the Chancellor of Germany. And sure, he was a little bit of a nutcase, but he hadn't committed a Holocaust yet. You know what I'm saying? He hadn't started World War II. He hadn't invaded Poland. So for a while there, nobody really batted an eye at Adolf Hitler being the Chancellor of Germany, right? So Miss Denmark going with him, that was most likely just clout. It was clout. You know, at the end of the day, it was just clout.
One here. Then
didn't Hitler have a bunch of disfigurations down there too? I don't know about a bunch of disfigurations. He did get wounded in World War I. He shrapnel, I believe, hit his genitals, and it might have fucked up one of his testicles. But I don't believe his genitals did not work. They were just maimed in World War I.
That would have been the magic bullet. That's the one that went in the president's back. And the Warren Commission then wanted to choose that bullet to be the magic bullet, which went through the top of his head. Now
here's a fun fact for you. Hitler tried to marry his cousin, and then he kidnapped her. He got a kidnapping charge. He locked her in a room, and then she mysteriously died. And this is well before he was the chancellor. So there is a conspiracy that I believe, which is that Hitler murdered his cousin for not loving him, and that kind of was the beginning of the downward spiral for him.
That's essentially what I wanted to say.
Okay. And that was, how many bullets did you say? 3 or 4?
That were fired?
Yes, sir.
4.
Okay, and that was a bolt action Italian carbine.
2 of the
allegedly.
bullets came from the front.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I know, but they were trying to tell us Lee Harvey Oswald was the
only bullets that came from the window were 2 bullets, and 3 bullets came from the window. 1 hit the curb, the other hit Conley, and the other one went in the president's back. And that's well documented.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So I love how we're just going to move past this because of the way that American media is, the news cycle. But we just got a man under oath who did the autopsy of the president say, oh, yeah, no, he got shot in the back. What? I mean, it's not that we didn't know this, but you're finally saying it? Luigi? So we're just going to finally admit this? So who the fuck shot him in the back then? Who the fuck shot him in the back? Luigi! Also, there was a second shooter. Of course. Lee Harvey Oswald. Guys, what was the first thing Lee Harvey Oswald said when the cops got him? Do you know this? Maybe you don't know this. What was the first thing Lee Harvey Oswald said when the cops got to him? And he had his hands up. It was the first thing he said. No, he said, I'm a patsy. He said, I'm a patsy. Okay? Which means he's taking the blame for this. Yes. He said yes, like, yeah, sure, I shot him, yeah. But I'm just the patsy. There was a whole team involved in this. I'm just the fall guy. I'm just getting blamed for this. What's that, some LGBT shit? No. It means he's getting blamed for it. He's gonna take the fall. Here. A patsy. A person who is easily taken advantage of, especially by being cheated or blamed for something. And then, don't forget, Jack Ruby. Anybody here know who Jack Ruby is? I know a lot of you are young, but do you guys know who Jack Ruby is? No? So, Lee Harvey Oswald gets blamed for killing JFK. He's sent to jail. He's supposed to stand trial and tell the story of what happened. And then, an Italian mobster named Jack Ruby, who was thrown in prison. Jack Ruby assassinates Lee Harvey Oswald before Lee Harvey Oswald can testify. And then Jack Ruby mysteriously dies in prison. So, Lee Harvey Oswald kills JFK, allegedly. He says, I'm a patsy, I'm a patsy, I'm a patsy. And before he could tell the whole story, he's killed. And then before that guy can get questioned, he's killed. Are we fucking dead ass? Are we dead ass? Are we dead ass right now? My boy? My boy. Crazy shit.
Now recognizes Representative Keating.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I will miss my seatmate, Jerry Conley. He loved sitting here, and we loved him. Secretary, in 1944, my uncle, James Arthur Keating, was serving in France, and as soldiers, his fellow soldiers were dying around him, he wrote a letter back in combat, back home, about the cost of human sacrifice and whether it was worthwhile to defend a piece of mud on the earth. Only a week after that letter, he answered that question while carrying lead in himself, as one of the people in his command was exposed and injured. He was wounded himself carrying lead and crawled out there, brought him back to safety, saved his life, and as he was going for another person, was machine gunned to death himself and killed in action. 400,000 other American families gave the same sacrifice.
Luigi!
But the peace and prosperity that came forward in the world has never seen. It's a transatlantic alliance where our allies sacrificed their young men and women when America was attacked in 9/11, and economically, they're a $1.6 trillion trading partner with us with 16 million jobs on both sides of the continent. So my questions today are looking for clarity on where we stand with our allies and partners for more than 80 years, because they're expressing their doubts. They're expressing their doubts publicly. They've expressed it to me privately. So as the face of our country, as the lead foreign policy representative in the United States, I'm just looking for this clarity. So first, simply answer this question, if you will. Is Russia the aggressor in this Ukraine war?
All right, we're not going to guess on what his answer is. We're going to guess on whether he answers the question, because that's how it goes with these hearings. So, does he answer the question? The question is Russia the aggressor? I don't think he answers the question. I could be wrong. He might say definitively, yes, Russia is the aggressor. I don't think he will. I don't think he'll even answer, let alone say yes or no. He's not even going to answer, right? Let's see.
Yeah, Russia invaded Ukraine.
So they are the...
Okay.
The aggressor in this war, correct?
They invaded them, yes.
Well, thank you, sir, because it's important to get this clarity, because President Donald Trump said it was Ukraine that started this war, and our allies have the right to know this. Secondly, the person with...
The thing about Marco Rubio is he's a career politician and a war hawk. So every once in a while, the old Marco Rubio seeps out for a second. He's like, yeah, they were the aggressor. And then he has to rope him back in because he has to remember he's living in the Trump regime now. He's not living in the fucking Bush era.
We're negotiating with Vladimir Putin. Is he a war criminal?
He's not going to answer this.
Well, I think you can look at instances that have happened there and certainly characterize them as war crimes, but our intent is to end the war.
Is he a war criminal?
We can't end the war without talking to Mr. Putin.
That's pretty simple. Is he a war criminal?
Well, that's
this man we're negotiating with, Vladimir Putin. Is he a war criminal? That's not tough.
But what? I'm trying to answer your question by telling you that we're trying to end the war here.
Go ahead.
No, it's not a simple answer.
You are equivocating, sir. Just answer the question.
I'm answering your question, and the answer is that war crimes have been committed, no doubt. And who's responsible for that? There will be time and place for that accountability. But right now, the job is to end the war.
So you won't answer the question.
If we don't end the war, people are going to get
reclaiming my time, sir. Let me go on. Because I don't understand this. Because you're sitting in front of us now as Secretary of State. It wasn't long ago that you were sitting as a senator with Secretary of State nominee Rex Tillerson at the time, in the exact same circumstances, only reversed. And you questioned him about Putin directing attacks against schools, markets, hospitals, playgrounds. And on top of this, in this instance, he's abducted 20,000 children, a clear war crime. So you were very clear then Vladimir Putin was a war criminal. Now you're unmaking him a war criminal, and you won't answer the question about the exact same circumstances.
You're putting words in my mouth.
I'm reclaiming my time, sir.
You're putting words in my mouth.
And you know what you said to Secretary Tillerson at the end of his answer when he equivocated just as you are right now?
I've not equivocated.
You said,
you just don't let me
sure
answer.
Sounds like it to me. Then I'll give you a second chance. Is Vladimir
you never gave me a
Putin
first chance.
war criminal?
I already told you war crimes have been committed.
No, you didn't tell me if he's a war criminal.
Mr. Chairman, am I allowed to answer questions?
I'm reclaiming my time, sir. And listen, I'm using your own words so you don't have to answer. Did you know what you said to then nominee Secretary of State Tillerson? You said you were very discouraged in his inability to accept that Putin was indeed a war criminal. Your words, we don't need any more. You're inconsistent. The third question I have, sir, is this.
I answered your question. You just don't let me answer.
You did not answer the question about Putin's war criminal conduct in Ukraine.
You asked me a question, then you reclaim your time. So how can I answer the question?
You answered it. Listen, let me go forward with this. 3 questions. And
are you going to reclaim time on those two?
I'm giving you a chance to answer. Give me a chance to ask the question. Here it is. So there's a concern among these allies that we've had, our closest allies, about the one-sidedness of the negotiations with Russia and Ukraine.
Gentlemen, time is expired. Secretary Rubio, if you'd like to respond, by all means.
Can I reclaim my time for a few seconds? Thank you. Number one, crimes have been committed in the war on Ukraine, and there will be accountability for that. But our goal right now is to end that war, because let me tell you, every single day that war goes on, more people are killed, more people are maimed, and frankly, more war crimes are being committed every day that the war lasts. Number one. Number two, I don't know how European allies could say that. I talk to European allies literally every single day. I see or talk to the foreign minister of the UK and France and Germany more than I see or talk to my own kids in some days.
Chairman,
so these are all false.
Why the fuck would you admit that? Why the fuck would you admit that, dude? Why are you just coming out and saying on fucking C-SPAN that you're a bad father? Why would you do that?
My time now.
You have
because
no time.
you've given him time, and I ask unanimous consent.
Mr.
Chairman,
you're not recognized.
I'm asking for unanimous consent to
Mr.
put in
Keating,
the record.
you're not recognized. The Secretary
I am
speaking.
asking unanimous consent to put in the record.
Mr. Keating, you're not recognized.
Op-ed. Oh, so you're not going to recognize, Mr. Chairman?
Not recognized in this
Anyone
moment.
that asks unanimous consent to put in for the record a document,
Keating,
you're not allowing
you
that?
You are not recognized right now. Your time expired. You might have a minute and a few. Mr. Secretary, please continue.
The last point is, our goal is to end this war. We have to be able to talk to both sides in order to do it.
Chairman,
in order to be, we have to end this
my
conflict.
time is answered. His time answering my question ended too. It's the next person's time. That's the rules in this committee. When you won't even let a person enter into the record something from our ambassador till recently from Ukraine, Ambassador Brink, who resigned because of the conduct of this administration after 30 years of service, sir.
You should keep a better eye of the clock in front of you. Your time expired. Continue.
Our goal is to end this war so more people don't die. And by the way, we want all those kids returned back to their homes that were kidnapped from their parents. We just want people to stop dying. Every day this war goes on, people die, things are destroyed, and lives are ruined. And we want it to stop.
Thank you, Secretary. Did you have something you want to submit for unanimous consent?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Now would be your opportunity.
Thank you, sir. I want to submit for the record an op-ed by Ambassador Brink from Ukraine, the regional ambassador that was close until recently, 30 years of service of Democrat presidents and Republican ones. It's an op-ed that says Trump's Ukraine
Representative Vice is recognized.
Choice, and she details how peace at any cost is
Take
appeasement,
yes for an
not
answer.
peace.
So ordered.
Oh, God. Another day, another Doland, you know. Another day, another Doland. Oh. Can you do the fascist or Zionist quote quiz? Where is that? What is that? Hassan had to resort to coin flips? All right, let's see. Is this it? Is this it? This it? Nah, not that one. Might have been slides his editors prepared for him. Chris, to be honest, at first I watched you on TikTok and thought you were absolutely nuts. You've removed me on there. I was proper right-wing MAGA, but I've watched you on YouTube and mine changed, brother. Hell yeah, Mason Co. I don't know what you mean by you've removed me on there. But thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, most of the people who hate me have absolutely no idea what my political beliefs are. It's remarkable. They just know that I don't like Donald Trump, which to them makes me an enemy. Appreciate that. I think I found it. Is this it? Is this it? That's it? All right. I'm going to grab another cup of coffee before we do this. Be right back. Dude, I'm so sore. I had a leg day yesterday, and I feel like I just got ass fucked by a Nordic giant. All right. All right. I'm going to record this. What's up? Welcome to the Valenti VOD. I'm your perfect and humble leader, Chris Valenti. And I don't know if you guys know this, but there's like a Zionist versus Nazi quote quiz out there. I saw Hassan Piker do it during his stream, and, you know, I'm a student of history. I have a bachelor's degree with a major in history and a minor in political science. And my focus in college was on the period between World War I and World War II, specifically the rise of fascism, the rise of Nazism, the rise of Adolf Hitler. And I find that it could be pretty poignant. I think it could be poignant for me to take this quiz to show you guys just how difficult it really is to differentiate between the quotes of a Nazi and the quotes of a Zionist. Because as you guys know, Israel today, as it stands, is the nation on earth that most resembles Nazi Germany. They're actively committing a Holocaust, live streamed in 4K. It's an apartheid regime. They've got these nuclear weapons and believe that they're the chosen ones from God. It's some of the most ridiculous beliefs on this planet at the moment. So we're going to take this quiz, and we're going to try and differentiate between a quote that is made by a Nazi or a quote that is made by a Zionist. Before we do this quiz, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. We are live right now, so when you hit that notification bell, you could be notified, so you could be here the next time we go live, and you could be part of this conversation Earlier, a B-52 bomber flew by, and yesterday, 2 F-22s flew by. So every time I fucking hear something now, I'm tweaking out. Anyway, let's dive in. Don't forget, this is real independent media, so if you do want to support the channel financially, there's a couple of ways you could do it. You could become a patron on Patreon for $5. You can become a member on YouTube for $5. You could buy some Valenti Videos merch right down below, and you can use a 40% off discount code for the Vantage subscription on Ground News. Anyway, let's do it. So this quiz explores the similarities between Nazi Germany and Israel, both in writing and deeds. Okay, let's start the quiz. So they put group because if they said, like, the Jews have deserved, like, then this would clearly be a Nazi. And if they said the Palestinians, this would clearly be Zionist. So here's the first one. The group have deserved the catastrophe that has now overtaken them. Their destruction will now go hand in hand with the destruction of our enemies. We must hasten this process with cold ruthlessness. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to go with Zionist here because I don't think a Nazi would refer to what is going on, what happened to the Jews as a catastrophe, right? I don't think, we're going to go with Zionist. Oh my God. We're wrong. This was said by propaganda minister Joseph Goebbels. Oh my God. Okay. Not starting off good. I need chat, keep score. So we're 0 for 1. One of the soldiers raped a 16-year-old girl. Laughing. They gathered them in something like a cage and put iron wires around them. They gathered all the men, sat them on the ground, and one of the soldiers got the submachine gun and shot them. There were soldiers who took flamethrowers and ran after the villagers and burned them. This has to be a Nazi. This has to be a Nazi. The fucking IDF is not using flamethrowers. Right? The IDF is not fucking using flamethrowers. Oh my God. Holy shit. Holy shit. Okay. 0 for 2. The weak crumble, are slaughtered and are erased from history, while the strong, for good or for ill, survive. The strong are respected and alliances are made with the strong, and in the end, peace is made with the strong. Probably Zionist, because the Nazis didn't really have any alliances besides Japan and Italy. Hey, we got one! All right, we got one. We are 1 for 3, folks. These people must be destroyed. They are no longer human beings. They are animals. That's Zionist. Fuck! After visiting imprisoned Jews in the ghetto, Nazi-occupied Poland, Nazi minister of propaganda Joseph Goebbels wrote in his diary, "They are no longer human beings, they are animals. Thus our task is no longer humanitarian but surgical. We must cut here and quite invasively, otherwise Europe will perish from the Jewish disease." Jesus Christ, bro. This is so fucking hard. The right to exercise national self-determination in this country is unique to our people. That's got to be Zionist. Yeah! It's got to be Zionist. Okay, I knew that. I do not admit that a wrong has been done to these people by the fact that a stronger race, a higher grade race, a more worldly wise race, to put it that way, has come in and taken their place. That's got to be the Nazis, because I don't even think that, like, Zionists refer to themselves as a race, right? That's got to be a fucking Nazi. Oh my God. Oh my God. There is one and only one solution, which is to completely destroy the members of the group. That's got to be the fucking Nazis. That has to be the fucking Nazis. They are saying there's only one and only one solution, the final solution. This has to fucking be the Nazis. What? Dude. What the fuck? There will be no mercy. We had the moral right and we had duty towards our people to destroy this people that wanted to destroy us. Zionist, because the Jews were not trying to destroy the Nazis. Oh my God, it was Heinrich fucking Himmler. It's Heinrich fucking Himmler. I thought this was your thing, so the fuck did I. Listen, I've studied Nazism. I studied fascism. I know fascism. I also know that Israel is a fucking Nazi regime. I didn't think they were this fucking similar. I didn't think it would actually be impossible to differentiate between quotes between the two groups. This is fucked. I am referring here to the evacuation of the group, the extermination of the group. This is one of the things that is easily said, but then they all come along and each one has his one decent member of the group. I don't think the Nazis would have referred to what they were doing to the Jews as an evacuation. This is Zionist. Oh my God. Oh my God. Something like a cage has to be built for them. I know that sounds terrible. It is really cruel, but there is no choice. There is a wild animal there that has to be locked up in one way or another. That's got to be a Zionist. There we go. We got one. Oh. Those are animals. They have no right to exist. I am not debating the way it will happen, but they need to be exterminated. That has to be a Nazi. This is insane. This is the war between the sons of light and the sons of darkness. We will not let up on our mission until the light overcomes the darkness. The good will defeat the extreme evil that threatens us and the entire world. This has to be a Zionist, because the Zionists refer to themselves as the sons of light all the time, and the Palestinians as the sons of darkness. I swear to fucking Christ, if I am incorrect right now, I'm gonna crash the fuck out. Holy fuck. We must expel the group and take their place. Take their place? Probably a Nazi, because they thought that the Jews are like controlling the world. Why would you say that to take their place, Zionists? You're the one bombing them. What do you want? You want their fucking place? Are you dead ass? Even 1 million members of the group are not worth a fingernail of our group. That sounds like a Zionist. Yeah, that sounds like a Zionist. All the group will be able to do about it will be to scurry around like drugged roaches in a bottle. That sounds like a Zionist thing to say. The Nazis didn't refer to the Jews as roaches. They referred to them as rats. Hell yeah. We knew it. Yeah. What's so horrifying about understanding that the entire group of people is the enemy? Sounds like a Zionist. Yep. Be triumphant and finish them off, and don't leave anyone behind. Erase the memory of them. Erase them, their families, mothers, and children. These animals can no longer live. If you have a member of the group neighbor, don't wait. Go to his home and shoot him. That sounds Zionist. Yeah, that sounds Zionist. The Nazis were a bit more put together than that. We shall exterminate the group. The group will not get away with the responsibility for date. This day will be avenged. This has got to be about October 7th. What? Said by Adolf Hitler while speaking to Czech Foreign Minister Klavlovsky on January 21st. We shall exterminate the Jews. The Jews will not get away with November 9th? November 9th, 1918. What is that? Is that Armistice Day? No, November 11th. 1918 was the day World War I ended, so maybe this is the ceasefire or some shit. This region never progressed beyond a certain primitiveness. It has never known anything but chaos because it lacked mankind, the valuable bearer of culture, the genius who systematically planned peaceful reconstruction, who ordered the well-designed exploitation of the immense treasures and the fertility of the soil. This country has only known the powers of unrestricted despoiling and a brutal armament for war. This sounds too really good grammar for a Zionist. Yeah, the grammar's too good. This part here, the country has only known the powers of unrestricted despoiling and brutal armament for war. The Nazis would use big words like that. A fucking Zionist would say, this country needs to be nuked. That's where they go. The group wanted war, and now they have it. There is only one effective measure. Cut them out, Zionist. What? The Jews never wanted war. All right, last question. National Speakers Group will make the ancient soil fertile. The soil was unproductive for others, but for us, it was a good soil because we fertilized it with our love. I'm going to go with Nazi. Of course. Of fucking course. Jesus Christ, bro. So, listen, me with my fucking knowledge, I went 9 and 12. I went 9 and 12. All right. That's fucking insane. Listen. Israel is a fascist apartheid regime that most resembles Nazi Germany. They are currently participating in a genocide, a live-streamed Holocaust that has killed between 200,000 and 300,000 innocent civilians, most of which women and children, in an area where 75% of the population is under the age of 25 and 50% of the population is under the age of 15. These quotes are insane. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. It costs you nothing, and it helps me immensely. Also, do me a favor and click that video right over there. I promise you, it's a banger. I'll catch you. Unreal. Unreal. The abdication of Kaiser Wilhelm II. Oh, that's true. You're right. Yep, you're right. Two days later, World War I ended. 2 days later, World War I ended. James got banned for being a brand new account, 32 minutes old. Yeah, you can ban that. Any day of the week, you can ban that. J.D. Dubois. J.D. Dubois. All right, let's make a Hitler versus Netanyahu thumbnail. Thummy time. All right, so we're going to need a picture of Adolf Hitler. Do you like saying my name, Chris? I do. J.D. Dubois. J.D. Dubois. J.D. Dubois. All right, we got a color photo of Hitler. $5 donation from Disobedient Avocado. Thummy time! It is thummy time. This is episode 132. Excuse me. We are losing some frames, which is very sad. It's very sad. We're not going to lose frames for too long. Don't worry. I want a better picture of Netanyahu. Save that. $20 donation from Missing Space. I don't want to miss this again like yesterday. I sent it right as you ended stream. Thanks again for all you do, Chris. Much love, brother. Thank you, Missing Space. I really appreciate that. Thank you very much. Hear about cheating being illegal in 2026. No, I don't know what you mean. What do you mean? Like cheating on your wife? What? You can't enforce that. You can't enforce that. And Donald Trump would never allow that, considering he cheats on his wife, or all of his wives, all the time. All of those Republican congressmen, those Republican politicians, hell, even the Democrat ones, they all cheat all the time. $5 donation from the Crazy Conrad. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. 5 hours. I was going to do a lot of bits and hate watchers. I think maybe white for this. You guys like that? I think that's pretty good. You guys like that? It's definitely provocative. It is definitely provocative. $5 donation from Victor Nowan for the fund to trans the cats and trans the dogs. We will be transing all of the cats and dogs in this nation, one by one. Yeah, Donald Trump just passed an executive order banning hitting it from the back. And frankly, doggy style, it takes a lot of effort. We're making the women on top from now on. It takes so much effort. And my back, oh, my back. Ow, my back. What are you talking about? He ain't fuck no more? Yeah, no, Trump don't fuck no more. I have a theory that Trump is, like, asexual. Not that he doesn't have sex, but that he doesn't have sex for the reasons that we do. That he does it for, like, the power and not for, you know, like, sexual gratification. All right, we're going to need a title for this video. All right, we're going to say Zionists versus Zionist or Nazi. What should we call this video? I took the Zionist, or let me put it in quotes. I took the Zionist or Nazi quiz, and I failed miserably. How much longer are you live for? Oh, I don't know. I took the Zionist or Nazi quiz and I failed miserably. Hardest game ever made. There is no difference between these two ideologies other than the religion of their victims. The Valenti VOD. No, this is not made for kids. Not at all, brother. Extremely sensitive issues. Dealing with the loss of life and tragedy. All right, video is published. That video is published. J.D. Dubois. J.D. Dubois. J.D. Dubois. J.D. Dubois. J.D. Dubois. Oh. Oh, shit. Zoran Mamdani's on the up and up. Please, Mr. Valenti, I don't have RAM for any new vocal stems. J.D. Dubois. J.D. Dubois. J.D. Dubois.
Another new tariff turnaround from President Trump, announcing on Sunday he will delay his plan to levy a sweeping 50% tariff on the European Union.
Oh, he's going to delay it. Oh, he's going to put it on. Oh, he's going to delay it. Dude, this guy's so fucking stupid. This guy's so fucking stupid.
Just days after declaring them, because, he said, trade talks were going nowhere. Henrietta Treyes is the managing partner and director of economic policy research at Veda Partners. With me in studio is NBC's business and data correspondent Brian Chung.
I did see that. Yeah, BlackRock is suing United Healthcare because after Luigi Mangione assassinated that CEO of United Healthcare started denying less claims. They actually learned their lesson. So because they started denying less claims, BlackRock, who's one of their top shareholders, one of their investors, well, now they're suing UHC because they're like, well, no, you need to start denying more claims. My beautiful, beautiful boy. My beautiful, beautiful boy.
Talking, Brian, about the largest trade relationship in the world. What would it mean to everyday Americans if there was a 50% tariff?
Yeah, well, it would mean 50% potentially in higher costs for consumers when it comes to things like wine and cheeses that come from Europe. But I want to point out that even though there's I was going to say that's
$27 donation from Maximus for transing all the conservatives. Yeah, we're going to trans them.
Something that hits a lot of Americans home. But I do want to point out that
I had 12 abortions for breakfast this morning.
Those are not the major exports from the countries in the EU.
I smuggled 47 undocumented immigrants over the border this morning.
At least the sheer dollar volume. Think about things like, for example, airplanes as well as motor vehicles. We import a lot of medicinal and pharmaceutical products as well from the European Union in magnitudes larger than just French wine and cheese. So those things could all get more expensive. Now, of course, the announcement over the weekend that that won't happen as early as next month, that it could happen in July, does certainly alleviate some of those concerns. But I think what makes all of this complicated, Chris, is that unlike other countries where they can negotiate bilaterally, this is a block of countries. Ursula von der Leyen, the president of the European Union, is going to have to figure out whether or not among the dozens or so countries in the European Union, whether or not a trade deal is...
Wait, what did he say?
Some of those concerns. But I think what makes all of this complicated, Chris, is that unlike other countries where they can negotiate bilaterally, this is a block of countries. Ursula von der Leyen, the president of the European Union, is going to have to figure out whether or not among the dozens or so...
Among us? Is the imposter among us? Oh, shit.
Countries in the European Union, whether or not a trade deal is able to get across the finish line. So it's a very complicated economic relationship, but it's also a very complicated negotiation that's going to happen between the U.S. and the EU.
Well, let's talk about that with NBC's Kelly O'Donnell, who's at the White House. Do we even know where these trade talks between the White House and EU stand right now, Kelly?
In the specifics, no, we don't. But we know that the president has been speaking out and forceful about his concerns that he wants to see negotiations proceed, and at the same time also having some flexibility, as he likes to describe it, after talking about tariffs, imposing tariffs, ratcheting up the pressure, then being willing to pull back the pressure by delaying that 50% tariff on the EU until July, giving some breathing room for negotiations. And on this holiday, we have not heard from the...
I wonder how many people are in these. Because odds are there's people in these, right? Human trafficking is the #1 most profitable organization on planet Earth. Odds are there's people in these, right? Or in some of them. What's the over-under? 100 people in this shot? 100? 200? I'm going to go with like 100.
Departments that would be directly handling this, but probably in the days ahead we will get more insight about how they're going about trying to have negotiations. But the president has made tariffs a central theme of his new administration, and he has long expressed and frequently expressed his frustration with the EU. And Brian laid it out about how you have different countries with different kinds of levels of interaction with the U.S. in terms of commerce. And it is, in fact, complicated. So broad brush strokes from President Trump on his social posts or in his response.
No, they're actually at the White House, Alexander.
Responses to questions or in the ways that he likes to communicate about this are only one level of the conversation. It goes so much deeper and gets so much more complicated. And there's, of course, a lot.
Alexander, this woman is in a line, right? She's here. There's a camera in front of her. Next to her, along both sides, are people doing the exact same thing for every other news channel, right? There's just a line of reporters with their team recording them right in front of the White House. There's a specific area of the White House lawn where they do these shots.
Line, and we have learned through this whole process there might be certain levels of tariffs where the pain is broadly dispersed, and then others where it's very acute in certain areas, and those tend to bubble up and get the president's attention and have these sort of conversations like the EU president talking to the president, trying to get some resolution. So I would expect there'd be more of that volatility in the approach as we go forward.
Thank you so much, Kelly. So, Henrietta, obviously, not the first time the president has announced a steep tariff on an ally and then walked it back. And by the way, we should say a top EU import for us is pharmaceuticals, and the president, Brian mentioned that, but the president has promised to bring down drug prices, among other things. What do you even say to regular Americans who are trying to navigate this uncertainty? You know, some of them rushed out and thought, oh, I'm going to have to buy a car. And so we talk about the businesses a lot, but for everyday Americans who are trying to budget, what do they do?
You know, it's amazing. This is the most impressive part of the whole story, in my opinion, is that the American public is just incredibly aware that these tariffs that the president keeps putting on, has in place, is escalating month by month, are a direct tax on everything that they buy. And you can see that in their actions. You can see it in the front page advertisements on local newspapers. You can see it everywhere you go. And Walmart and other stores are letting their consumers, their shoppers know that prices are on the rise, and it's specifically
Kristi
because
Noem is speaking in Poland right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Przemysław Wipler, Member of Parliament from the Confederation Party.
Szanowni Państwo, jesteśmy na...
not getting fucking copyright striked for this cunt. What are we watching? We're watching the head of the Department of Homeland Security give a speech in Poland. Meanwhile, the Russians are amassing their troops on the borders of Finland and Norway, getting ready for an invasion.
Good evening. Good evening. I am so excited to be with all of you tonight.
Your mic sucks. Who the fuck is in charge? This is something I've talked about before. When it comes to Trump being interviewed on Air Force One, Kristi Noem in Poland, fucking Pete Hegseth in Greenland. They don't... Whoever the fuck is in charge of audio does not know what they're doing. It has to be like some fucking millennial.
Listen, I had this big fancy speech that I'm sure 15 government staffers wrote for me that was fantastic, but I'm probably not going to use it. Is that okay? Does that sound all right with you?
Bullshit.
I just had the opportunity to meet with Carol, and listen, he needs to be the next president of Poland. Do you understand me? There's 3 things that I've learned in my life, and I want to talk to you about them today. Does that sound fine?
What are you holding?
Number 1 is God. I want to talk to you about faith and what it means and what it brings you for the value system that you embrace and what it does for you during challenging times. The second thing I want to talk to you about is freedom. And I'm going to share with you a few of my own personal stories of how I've had to fight for freedom in my life and what it has meant for the people.
You have fought to take freedom away. You said you don't know what habeas corpus is and you want to suspend it, you dumb laminated-faced cunt. And you also want to rid due process, rid this nation of due process. Go fuck yourself, plastic Hitler.
That I've been
fucking, you know what this is? This is brunette Eva Braun. That's what this is.
The opportunity to lead, but also how it has helped our president make America great again. The third thing that I want to talk to you about is how leadership has consequences. It matters who's in charge. I have watched over the years as socialists and people that are just like this mayor.
That's us, folks. Socialists. This one is about us. Let's see what she has to say.
Warsaw, that is an absolute train wreck of a leader, have destroyed our countries because they have led by fear.
Oh, yeah. Socialists destroyed America. Yeah. Not hyper-capitalism and imperialism and what the fuck are you? What socialist leader destroyed America?
They have used fear to control people, and they've used fear to promote an agenda.
I love how every accusation is a confession. I know I keep on pausing it, but let's be real quick. Let's real quick with this. She goes, they're using fear to promote an agenda. Motherfucker, you're literally using ICE to black bag and disappear people with no body cameras. They're wearing masks. They're hiding their identities. You have created an actual environment of fear in the United States. People are horrified. People are horrified.
That is not what liberty is about. That is not what freedom is about. So that's what I want to talk to you about today. This is my very first trip to Poland. I love it.
Quote, Hitler, 1939.
I want to thank you for inviting me to come here and be at CPAC Poland. I want to thank my dear friend Matt Schlapp, his beautiful, lovely family, and Mercy, all the work that they do. Would you give them a round of applause for me too, for all that they've done? Now I am here.
I'm imagining something right now that I can't say, but God, I'd love to see it.
Because of the generosity, the privilege, and the direction of our great President of the United States, Donald J. Trump.
Thank you for the $2 donation, Matthew Pompeo. Fascists love to project their actions onto others. Yes, fascists across the planet throughout history pretend to be socialists, and then they blame the downfall of their own regimes on the socialists that they're pretending to be.
He has allowed me to be here with you today. Now, President Donald J. Trump was here 8 years ago with a message for Poland. I don't know if you remember what that message was. But that question that he asked all of you was, he said there is a fundamental question. Does the West have the will to survive? Do we have the confidence in our values to meet our challenges head on?
No, you don't. You're bending the knee to Vladimir Putin and Benjamin Netanyahu. No, you don't have the strength.
Does the West have the courage to respect our civilians?
Nope, it doesn't.
To make sure that we have strong borders, to preserve our civilizations, and to protect ourselves from those who would destroy us? Does the West have the will to survive?
This bitch is speaking like she's fucking Aragorn. I bid man of the West, rise! Motherfucker, there is no West. The United States, especially now with Donald Trump, we're not aligned with Western countries. He's threatening to invade and annex Canada and Mexico and Greenland. That's all in the West. There is no West. Not with Donald Trump as the fucking president.
President Trump knows that the West has the will to survive because of you, because of Poland, because how you've met challenges head on and you've stood up for freedom. And you've gone through those difficult times and led by example. And he's incredibly proud of you and the partnership and the alliance that we have with the people of this great country. Poland has not just survived, you have led by example. When other weak European leaders have caved in and allowed migration in that's destroyed their civilizations, their public safety, that has not happened here in Poland. You have enforced your borders. You have protected who comes into your country, enforced your...
Real quick, let me just get condensation loaded up. There we go. There we go.
Visa programs. You've done good work to make sure that this country has a different story, but you have much more to do. And you are threatened with a leader who is on the ballot who would take all of that protection away from you, who would open you up to much of the experiences that America had to live through under our last president, Joe Biden. Now, I know many of you sitting there today maybe don't know anything about me. You're wondering, who is this woman standing in front of us today? Well, I will tell you that I'm just a farmer.
I'm just a farmer. Bitch, you shot your dog. She shot and killed her dog because it was sick. You're not just, you're the head of the Department of Homeland Security. You were a fucking lobbyist for Qatar. You're not just a farmer. You evil, laminated-faced, plastic-riddled, fascist Barbie-looking ass bitch. Who is she? This is Kristi Noem. This is the head of the United States' Department of Homeland Security, meaning the homeland, right? Like the main U.S. land. She is the head of our security for the homeland. This woman took a pistol and shot her fucking dogs. 2 of them, I believe.
I'm a wife and a mother and a grandmother.
You're a grandmother? Would you have that kid when you were fucking 16?
And growing up, all I ever wanted to do was to work with my dad. My dad was a cowboy. Have you ever heard of a John Wayne? My dad was like John Wayne. He was like him. In fact, the way that he woke up us children in the morning was by yelling up the stairs, "Get up! More people die in bed than anywhere else." I didn't know if that was true or not, but we got up and we went to work. But he was very, very tough man, but he also taught us about freedom and liberty, and that the government doesn't give us our rights, that our rights come from God, and that they must be.
Your rights come from God? Did God write the Second Amendment? You cunt.
Be protected and defended, and that we're only one generation away from extinction, which is part of a quote that our great President Ronald Reagan once said, to remind our people of how precious our country is. My prayer for all of you is that you don't forget how precious your country is, how it's worth fighting for every single day. Now, you have faced challenges. You fought off.
The purpose of this speech is to prop up the far-right extremist candidate in Poland. See, fascists in America will travel to European nations to try and reinforce the spread of fascism in Europe, because misery loves company. Fascists need fascist allies in order to move forward. Hitler needed Japan and Italy in order to advance his fascist regime. And the United States needs fascist allies, especially when we are forsaking all bonds of brotherhood that we had previously, like with Canada and Mexico and France and the UK and NATO in and of itself. Trump needs allies. This is why he's buddying up with Putin. It's why he's buddying up with Erdogan and what's the guy from, what is it, Hungary? He buddies up with any and all dictators that he possibly can, because fascism needs fascists.
Off communism.
Yeah, look, they're already
one
throwing
generation
around
away from
the buzzwords.
extinction,
Communism.
which is part of a quote that our great President Ronald Reagan once said, to remind our people of how precious our country.
Yes, we have a Department of Faith now, and it is headed by some insane woman who speaks in tongues, and literally, I could send you videos of her going, "Shindala fandala kangala ba, andala sindala bundala hakatanda sindala hofol." Jesus is speaking through me right now. The angels are coming from Africa. The angels are coming from Africa. The angels are coming from Africa. Afandala bandala sindala fandala hu. I'm not even fucking kidding. Do you want to see it? Do you want to see it? Do you want to see it? We have a what department? Yeah, we have a Department of Faith. This is the head of it. Paula White speaking.
Does the West have the courage to respect our civilians, to make sure that we have strong borders, to preserve our civilizations?
Here. This is the current head of the United States Department of Faith, which will be replacing the Department of Education because I live in hell. I'm gonna use a slur real quick. If you think that's real, you're retarded. Clip it and ship it.
Country is. My prayer for all of you is that you don't forget how precious your country is, how it's worth fighting for every single day.
Matthew Pompeo says, is the apathy about the genocide in Gaza connected to the gun lobby being able to convince people that unalived kids in schools are a part of freedom? I don't really know how to answer that, to be frank.
Now, you have faced challenges. You fought off communism during World War II.
Nelson says that Chris, don't use that word, brother. Sorry.
You fought off not just Germany, but also Russia, and you were free because of that. Because your ancestors and those who came before you met those challenges head on and believed that you and your children and your grandchildren deserved a better future. This last November, America made a choice. We had lived through 4 years of hell, of government control and corruption, and a president who was not transparent and allowed an invasion over our southern border. Thousands and thousands of dangerous criminals came into our country. Hundreds of known terrorists infiltrated our country and our communities. And our families were murdered and raped and victimized, arrested, released again by his administration to continue the fear agenda that he was trying to promote.
No, this is in Poland, not Greenland.
Allow political power to be in his hands, but not in the people any longer. Now listen, in my state where I served, I ended up in government because of taxes. My dad was killed in an accident when he was just 49 years old. I was married, I was 22 years old and 8 months pregnant when my dad passed away in an accident suddenly, and I found out from the federal government that I owed taxes on 55% of everything we owned needed to be turned over to the federal government. If you can imagine farmers and ranchers.
So your fucking dead dad just didn't pay his taxes? That's what you're bitching and moaning about? That your dead dad just fucking did not pay his taxes and the IRS came after him after he fucking died? Is that what you're bitching and moaning about? Shut the fuck up, bitch.
Who have land and cattle and machinery, but we didn't have any money in the bank, suddenly being told that 55% of everything that you owned needed to go to the federal government, it made me angry. So that's how I got involved in government and politics. I just started showing up. I just started going to meetings and telling my story about how that's not what America was about and that we needed to reform with the help of President Trump. Got elected as governor of the great state of South Dakota. I don't know if you've ever heard of Mount Rushmore, but we are the home.
So the Supreme Court declines to halt land transfer that would destroy sacred site for Western Apache. It doesn't surprise me.
Of Mount Rushmore. But led my state during COVID pandemic. And when I led my state, we were the only state that never once shut down. We never once mandated anything.
You never mandated anything? I'm curious. I want to see how South Dakota dealt with COVID. South Dakota COVID death rate. Let's see. So you had... You're a fucking idiot. Wait. Where's South Dakota on this? So here's the death rate, low to high, right? South Dakota with 453. So a whole bunch. Here's the death rate. Here's the death rate. So South Dakota had a higher death rate than all of these states. Every single one of these had a lower death rate than South Dakota.
We didn't close a single business. We didn't close a single school. I told my people that I would trust them, that I would let them use personal responsibility to make the best decisions for them and for their families. And they did, and that we would get through it together. I found that this small state in the middle of the great country, the United States of America.
I'm not watching the whole thing. I fucking hate this woman. I want to watch more of Paula White.
And strike, and angels have even been dispatched from Africa right now. Africa right now. Africa right now. From Africa right now. They're coming here. They're coming here. In the name of Jesus, from South America. They're coming here. They're coming here. They're coming here. They're coming here. From Africa, from South America. Angelic forces, angelic reinforcement, angelic reinforcement, angelic reinforcement. Fika hata anda ata. Ora bata rata anda eke eke manda rasata. For I hear the sound of victory. 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 Made the altar a place for sinners and altars a place for a saint to consecrate himself, to come to God, to pour out his heart to God, to mourn before.
Dude, Christians are such fucking losers. People pay to go to this shit. People pay to go to this shit. What a bunch of fucking idiots.
For God. Lord, you're hungry. And you don't need my singing. You don't need it. You'll cause the very rocks to cry out if I don't praise you.
Just to remind you, this is the head of the Department of Faith, handpicked by President Donald Trump to replace the Department of Education.
You said as long as there's breath in my body that I have to bless you. And I get to bless you. But God, you can't work in this earth without partnering, co-laboring with someone. So you're standing right now even looking to and fro in the earth for somebody to make up the hedge. You're looking for Hezekiah to come repair the doors to the temple.
No, she's Christian.
I'll finish this later. And to clean the corruptness of the priesthood, to get the people right and to get the house right. And when the people right and the house is right, you'll take care of the nation. And while you said, blessed is the nation whose God is Lord.
Was a replacement of the Department of Education really necessary? Well, yeah, if you want to create a fascist nation, yeah. That you put people like this in charge of education, kids are extremely malleable. You can force them to believe in anything you want. You take away the Department of Education, you put people like this in charge, this is how you create the next generation of American fascists.
Nation cannot serve you as Lord until the church is in its proper place. David wrote in Acts 2:25, y'all come on up. I was always beholding the Lord in my presence. Right there within the psalmist's heart was a dwelling place for God. Here's the question, everybody standing up, please.
This woman is so fucking nuts, bro.
Pika hata anda ata ora bata rata ande eke eke manda rasata. Amanda aka ata raka deda baka san. I hear a sound of victory. I hear a sound of victory. Amanda aka ata raka deda baka sanda. Strike and strike, strike and strike, strike and strike, strike and strike.
The body tribe that will steal this election.
The Lord says it is done.
The video is covering it up.
Amanda aka ata raka.
The body tribe that will steal this election.
Strike and strike, strike and strike.
We want our freedom for the world.
Until you have victory.
Fuck yeah.
Where were we?
Fuck yeah, dude. That shit went hard. That shit went hard as fuck.
You in prayer for our president, Donald Trump. Damn. I'm feeling the spirit. I'm feeling it. I'm on speak in tongues. Here it comes. Ra-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta. Miss.
And I believe that when you honor God on Passover, starting on April 12th at sundown through Good Friday on the 18th and concluding on Easter Sunday, you can receive these 7 supernatural blessings for you and your house. According to Exodus 23, God will assign an angel to you. He'll be an enemy to your enemies. He'll give you prosperity. He'll take sickness away from you. He will give you long life. He'll bring increase in inheritance, and he'll give a special year of blessing. You're not doing this to get something, but you're doing it in honor to God, realizing what you can receive.
For your special Passover offering of $1,000 or more as the Holy Spirit leads, you will also receive the beautiful 10-inch Waterford Crystal Cross. Don't.
Bro, Christians, are you okay? What are you doing? Christians, what are you doing? What are you doing? You don't even believe in your gods. Bro, you don't believe in God. You don't. You don't. The reason why Christians are so perplexed when they see a Muslim praying in the direction of Mecca 5 times a day, or a Muslim woman wearing a burqa or a hijab or any of that shit, they're like, oh, those people are so weird. No, that's called practicing your religion. That's called actually practicing your religion and following through. Do I agree with Muslim practices? No. I don't like the idea of burqas. I don't like the idea of hijabs or whatever. But they're doing it because their book tells them to. Your book tells you that if you wear a suit with 2 different fabrics, the entire town has to stone you to death. You don't believe in your God. You don't practice your religion. You do nothing other than swindle dumb, old, elderly Christians
For your special Passover offering of $1,000 or more as the
into spending $1,000 for the gift of what?
Supernatural blessings 23. God will assign an angel to you.
For for the low price of $1,000, God will assign an angel to you. He'll be an enemy to your enemies. He'll give you prosperity. He'll take your sicknesses away. He'll give you long life. He'll cause an increase for you, and it'll be a special year of blessing for the low price of $1,000 sent to me, a fucking multi-millionaire. Listen, I don't believe in Christianity, but if there was a hell and demons, this woman is a demon. If hell is real and demons are real, this woman is an agent of Satan and a demon walking earth. That's what she is.
Enemy to your enemies. He'll give you prosperity. He'll take sickness.
10-inch Waterford Crystal Cross. Don't miss your moment to release 7 supernatural blessings and provision into your life.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Hey! Modarabaka sakatara baka sakatara.
Is this how easy it is to become a millionaire as a Christian? Is this how easy it is? Why don't I do this shit?
And give you a chance to raise your income. Praise God. You missed a place to shout right there. That you need to get used to this now. Amen. Glory to God. Of course, all of our offerings will go toward the outreaches of Kenneth Copeland Ministries and especially Kenneth Copeland Ministries Canada, and it is and the territories under which the Canadian office is. Sigama. Det vraiment on va brevet to cinema hantetke. En und genyandos dog sisik pukula namen bremenesto. Stelogla hamalana lelo lendile enkren in stelest karatak.
I just got to chill because I just realized that there are literally tens of millions of Americans who are mentally disabled. Grown-ass adults with jobs and families and kids, and they look at this and they think it's real. This is mental disability. If you think this is real, you have a mental disability. You need professional help.
The movement of the Spirit of God that has been prayed over, called down, cried over, died over, sought after. People crying for the lives of other people throughout this entire North American continent, but most especially in these territories and in these places in which we sit tonight. Centuries. People crying and dying, knowing it's coming.
Yes.
Yes.
Knowing that there is a move of God beyond anything human eyes have ever seen. Knowing it's coming. Prophets have prophesied of it. People have prayed, seeing it in the Spirit.
Every single one of the people in this crowd is inferior to you. I need you to understand that. I mean that wholeheartedly. I hope this gets clipped out of context when I'm running for some sort of office. Every single one of these people is inferior to you, okay? These are mentally disabled individuals. They listen to a man, they pay this man tens of thousands of dollars. These are mentally disabled, inferior human beings.
But I'm here to tell you tonight, we are in the first rains of a major flood. It has already begun. Amen. Now,
oh, Jesus Christ. And those fucking people have children. Those people have children. No, I didn't say that they're mentally disabled and that's why they're inferior. I said they are inferior and they are mentally disabled. Two completely different things.
We do have some breaking news that we want to bring to your attention here regarding President Trump putting out his latest statement on Putin, saying that the Russian president is playing with fire. I want to showcase just what he said in his latest Truth Social. He said, what Vladimir Putin doesn't realize is that if it weren't for me, lots of really bad things would have already happened to Russia. And I mean really bad. He's playing with fire.
That's something a fucking third grader would write.
What Vladimir Putin doesn't realize is that if it weren't for me, lots of really bad things would have already happened to Russia. And I mean really bad. He's playing with fire.
So this comes just a day after President Trump said that Putin was acting crazy when it comes...
Dude, this is giving the same energy as, like, making a Instagram story hoping that the one person you have a crush on is going to see it. And then you, like, look through all the people who viewed it and they didn't see it. This is a desperate cry to Putin. Please, Vladimir, if it weren't for me, you wouldn't even be here right now. I've done so much for you.
To the war in Ukraine, and also really not mincing any words with Zelensky either. Just a day ago, says every time he opens his mouth, it's bad news. So for the latest here on this effort to continue to try to bring some sort of ceasefire into the...
Brother, either get a toupee or shave your fucking head. That is the worst hairline I've ever seen. It looks like the letter M, bro. What are you, fucking Mothman?
Region of Ukraine, even though it does not look like anything is even remotely close to that. Let's showcase the latest report from Fox News' Doug Luzader with a breakdown.
President Trump is not hiding his anger toward Vladimir Putin, but the question now is whether this heated rhetoric will lead to U.S. action. President Trump...
I don't give a fuck about this shit. Excuse me.
The Kremlin is blaming emotional overload for Donald Trump's critical comments about Vladimir Putin after the US president called his Russian counterpart absolutely crazy. Trump's remarks followed Russia's largest ever aerial assault on Ukraine over the weekend. The Kremlin spokesperson sought to downplay the criticism and instead said Moscow is grateful to the US for help in launching the negotiation process with Ukraine.
Of course, at the same time, this is a very crucial moment, which is associated, of course, with the emotional overload of everyone, absolutely, and with emotional reactions. We follow this very closely.
German Chancellor Friedrich Merz said it's clear Trump is increasingly disillusioned with Putin after the continued attacks on Ukraine. He also spoke about the lifting of range restrictions for weapons delivered to Ukraine by Germany and other Ukrainian allies, a move the Kremlin calls dangerous. CNN's Kristen Holmes has more now from Washington.
President Donald Trump having a clear change of public posture when it comes to Russia and Russia's President Vladimir Putin after his phone call with him last week where he described...
Why do we still call Putin Russia's president? He's not a president. He's a dictator. Like, this is just like a little thing. You guys know I call the Trump administration the Trump regime. And I've been doing that for months. And you've probably now heard more and more and more political commentators refer to it as the regime. That's what you do. You plant a seed. First, nobody says it. People call you out. Then somebody else says it. And somebody else and somebody else. And the next thing you know, everybody's calling it a regime. Just start calling him a dictator. And give it a couple of months, and everyone will refer to him as a dictator. And we know this because Trump already did this with Zelensky. He called Zelensky a dictator. And then slowly but surely, all of the right-wing political commentators who are paid by the GOP and Russia, fat idiots like the older millennial, or what are those fucking? There's some. What's that black guy's name? It's like, I forgot who it is. All of these fucking bald, divorced, fucking They get to see their kids on a weekend or some shit. All those fucking losers immediately said, oh no, Zelensky's a dictator. Because Trump fucking told them to. Jeff Mead, thank you. You can do it to Putin.
The relationship as good, saying that Ukraine and Russia were going to go straight to the negotiating table. He is growing frustrated with the Russian president, particularly after that series of attacks we saw over the weekend. This is what he told reporters.
I'm not happy with what Putin's doing. He's killing a lot of people, and I don't know what the hell happened to Putin. I've known him a long time, always gotten along with him, but he's sending rockets into cities and killing people, and I don't like it at all, okay? We're in the middle of talking, and he's shooting rockets into Kiev and other cities. I don't like it at all.
Now, generally, Donald Trump spends most of his time talking about his good relationship with Vladimir Putin, focusing instead on the actual war in Ukraine, on trade deals or potential economic partnerships should Russia end the war. Now, it was particularly interesting in this.
Yeah, so, I mean, the Russians don't give a fuck about Trump. They don't feel threatened by Trump. Trump has no fucking cards. He has no cards. Is this fucking war footage? Azov scouts engage in close combat with occupiers in Toretsk front line? How is this on YouTube? Is this just straight up combat footage? How the fuck is that on YouTube? And also, this is the Azov battalion? Dude, those are dead-ass Nazis. Those are dead-ass Nazis. Unironically, and I mean, I don't mean that as like oh, I'm anti-Ukraine. Ukraine's full of Nazis. No, the Azov battalion are literal fucking Nazis. Where did you hear that? The Azov battalion. They fly swastikas often. They don't even hide it. Just wondering, what is in your vape? Just mint nicotine, bro. A far-right battalion has a key role in Ukraine's resistance. Its neo-Nazi history has been exploited by Putin. Yeah, the far-right National Corps Party was founded. The Azov battalion held by integrated into the Ukraine National Guard. History of neo-Nazi leanings. But you've heard the old saying, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. That's the problem with the Azov battalion, is that if the Azov battalion, or if they do end up pushing back Russia, now you have a new problem, which is the Azov battalion. What the fuck is this? Oh my God. Big, whoa, Granny! Granny! Oh, fuck! You do not want to fuck with Babushka! Holy fuck! Holy fuck, Granny! Jesus! Brother, so, could you imagine being some 19-year-old Russian soldier forced to go fight in Ukraine and you get fucking bodied by a babushka? Like, this is the one thing that makes me wish that kill cams were real. In that, like, 60 seconds where you're bleeding to death, you get to see a kill cam of who shot you, and you're like, are you fucking dead ass right now? You know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of that old-ass Russian sniper who fought in World War II. He was the oldest man to fight in World War II. Oldest man to fight in... What's his name? Yeah, Nikolai Morozov. Nikolai Morozov. This guy's a fucking nutty. Brother. Nikolai Morozov, this guy right here, when he was 80 years old, he was a professor, right? He was a professor in Russia, like a history professor and all that. When he was 80 years old, he told his family, he goes, hey, I'm going to go on a trip. I'm just going to take a couple of months off. And they were like, okay. And what he ended up doing was going to the recruitment office and demanding to fight. And they said, sir, you're incredibly old. Like, if you really want to fight, we can help you become a sniper. And he was like a physics master. He knew physics and he knew history. And he was an incredible, and he got a confirmed kill. He got a confirmed kill at age 88 years old. Briefly served in the Red Army as a sniper, the oldest known combatant in the war. Brother. In 1942, Morozov, then age 88, enlisted in the Red Army to fight in the German-Soviet War. He had taken a sniper course in 1939 and claimed to be working on a new telescopic sight which needed field testing, threatening that if he was not allowed to enlist, he would ask Joseph Stalin himself to intervene. And that's the thing. This guy was so old, he could literally walk to the Kremlin and demand to see Stalin, and Stalin would look at him with respect. And he would have demanded Stalin let him fight on the front line, told him the fucking names of the Soviet officers who refused him, and Stalin would have punished those men. The military leadership gave in and enlisted him. In 1942, he was assigned to a battalion in the Volkhov area after the siege of Leningrad as a sniper. He shot accurately despite needing glasses, and in one instance, spent half a day lying in ambush in the snow before killing a German officer. He used his academic training to enhance his effectiveness as a sniper, studying the trajectory of his bullets and making adjustments for humidity and wind. After a month, he was pulled from the front line despite his protests. He was unsuccessfully demanded to be returned to the front several months later. He was awarded with the Medal for the Defense of Leningrad. Bro, do not fuck with a 90-year-old Russian. Do not fuck with a 90-year-old Russian, ever, for any reason. That's so fucking scary. They get scarier with age. Well, yeah, dude, that guy's 88. Do you think he gives a shit about dying? He doesn't give a fuck. He doesn't give a fuck. That's the scary part about an 88-year-old man. That's the type of guy to be like, oh, I don't give a shit. You're coming with me, son. That guy doesn't give a fuck about life. He's done. He clocked out. Crazy. All right. I'm going to end the stream. I got shit to do. Thank you for tuning into the Valenti Videos broadcast. I love you all. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. It costs you nothing, and it helps me immensely. If you do want to support the channel financially, a couple ways you could do it. Become a patron on Patreon for $5. Become a member on YouTube for $5. Both of those things will give you access to the Valenti Bros show, which is a show for members and patrons only. It's me and my brother. We shoot the shit. We talk politics. If you want to support the channel financially, other than that, buy some merch and use the 40% off discount code for Vantage subscription in the description down below. Thank you very much. Have a good one.